Breaking, CBC slammed for defending Carney as Liberals turn on each other. The political landscape in Canada is heating up as the federal government grapples with internal strife and external pressures. Mark Carney, the newly appointed leader of the Liberal Party and Prime Minister, finds himself at the center of a storm, facing criticism not only from opposition parties, but also from within his own ranks. The CBC has come under fire for its perceived defense of Carney amidst these tensions, raising questions about media bias and accountability. As the Liberals inch closer to a majority, the party is experiencing significant turmoil. Carney's leadership is being scrutinized, particularly regarding his handling of key issues such as energy policy and economic strategy. Critics argue that the government's recent decisions reflect a lack of transparency and accountability, especially following the delayed release of public accounts. This has led to accusations that the government is more focused on controlling the narrative than on addressing pressing national concerns. One of the most contentious areas of debate is the government's stance on energy development. Carney's administration has taken a firm position against new pipeline approvals, which contradicts the government's broader ambitions to position Canada as an energy superpower. This ideological rigidity has drawn criticism from various stakeholders, including industry leaders who argue that the current energy strategy fails to meet the infrastructure demands of the country. The lack of new pipelines could stifle economic growth and limit Canada's ability to compete in the global market. Dominic LeBlanc, a prominent figure in the government, has suggested that energy corridors should extend beyond traditional oil pipelines. However, the alternatives being promoted, such as hydrogen and carbon capture technologies, are still in their infancy and not yet commercially viable. This raises concerns about the feasibility of transitioning away from oil and gas exports without jeopardizing economic stability. Industry experts have pointed out that while these technologies hold promise, they require significant investment and time to mature, something that the current political climate does not seem to accommodate. The economic ramifications of the government's energy policies are significant. The oil and gas sector remains a crucial contributor to Canada's economy, providing jobs and generating revenue. Critics argue that the current approach, which emphasizes ideological commitments over practical solutions, could lead to substantial economic losses. Investors are reportedly pulling out of various sectors due to the uncertain political and regulatory environment, further exacerbating the situation. This shift in investment trends could have long-lasting effects on job creation and economic growth across the country. In a bid to regain public favor, the government has promised a tax cut potentially worth $5 to $6 billion. However, the lack of a clear budget or funding plan raises alarms about the sustainability of such measures. This pattern of combining popular initiatives with controversial policies in omnibus bills has historically forced opposition parties into difficult positions, allowing the government to frame dissent as opposition to progress. Such tactics have left many Canadians feeling frustrated and disillusioned with the political process, as they perceive a disconnect between governmental promises and actual policies. The CBC's role in this political drama cannot be overlooked. The organization has faced backlash for its handling of coverage related to Carney and the Liberal Party. Critics argue that the CBC's defense of Carney amidst growing dissent within the party reflects a broader issue of media bias, particularly in how public perception is shaped in favor of the government. This criticism highlights the importance of a free and independent press in holding those in power accountable, as well as the need for transparency in governmental actions and decisions. Despite recent commitments to cease independent bonuses following public outcry, the CBC continues to receive substantial taxpayer funding, raising further questions about its accountability and transparency. As public trust in institutions wanes, the media's role becomes even more crucial in ensuring that the government's actions are scrutinized. Many Canadians are calling for greater oversight and accountability in how public funds are allocated, especially when it comes to media organizations that rely on taxpayer dollars. Pierre Poilievre, the leader of the Conservative Party, has been vocal in his criticism of Carney's leadership and the Liberal government's policies. He argues that the current administration's approach is detrimental to Canada's economic future and calls for a more pragmatic and accountable governance model. Poilievre's stance resonates with many Canadians who feel disconnected from the political elite and frustrated by the perceived lack of responsiveness to regional concerns. His criticisms have found traction among those who believe that the government is out of touch with everyday realities. As the political landscape in Canada evolves, the tensions within the Liberal Party and the criticisms directed at Mark Carney highlight the complexities of governance in a polarized environment. The CBC's role in this narrative adds another layer of complexity as questions of media bias and accountability come to the forefront. This situation underscores the need for a political discourse that allows for genuine debate and discussion, rather than one that is dominated by party allegiance and ideological rigidity. The broader political culture appears increasingly polarized, with discussions around Alberta's autonomy or discontent with federal policies often dismissed as radical or fringe. This reflexive dismissal of regional concerns reflects a deeper disconnect between decision-makers and everyday Canadians. As political leaders focus on their narratives, they risk alienating constituents who feel their voices are not being heard. A more inclusive approach to governance could help bridge this gap, fostering a political environment that prioritizes dialogue over division. In conclusion, the internal strife within the Liberal Party and the criticisms directed at Mark Carney reveal the challenges of leadership in a complex and often contentious political environment. As the CBC faces scrutiny for its role in this narrative, the need for accountability and transparency in both media and government has never been more pressing. With the election season heating up, both the government and opposition parties will need to navigate these challenges carefully to restore public trust and address the concerns of Canadians effectively. The path forward will require a commitment to genuine dialogue and a willingness to engage with diverse perspectives, ensuring that all voices are heard in the shaping of Canada's future.